guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 8 of Satan's Hollow. What I want to do today is get this coin door stripped down, get all the parts off of it. I'm going to put the parts in a tumbler, and then we need to fix these couple holes here where somebody had a latch on here, you know, an extra latch on the coin door. It has a slight bend to the coin door too. I'm going to see if I can't fix that. I don't know if you can see it in the video here, but it's kind of rocking back and forth, and that's bent right there. So let's get this repaired, and then we're going to take this piece of poplar, and I took the measurements in the cabinet of what size the wood brackets used to be for the PCB to fit in the cabinet. The one that screws to the base of the cabinet was missing, but you could see the outline in the wood of where it was at. So I was able to get measurements for it. And also we have to bend a piece of metal for the top one so that we can mount it to the wall. So let's get started on taking this apart, and we can hopefully get these fixed. I didn't really want to disturb the factory texture, but unfortunately I'm going to have to at somewhat of it for right here where these holes are at. So let's get this stripped apart real quick, and then we can figure that out. All right. There's going to be probably a couple videos this weekend. I am working this weekend, but I do want to strip the paint off of the bubbles cabinet because I want to see what it looks like. So I want to get that cabinet stripped down, take the monitor and everything out of it, and get it, see if we can't get that old paint off of it. I probably won't start it until tomorrow afternoon. When I get home from work, I'll probably put the alcohol on one side. Maybe we'll do a video later today of stripping it down and getting it ready. But what I'm doing now is cutting these couple of zip ties off so I can get these wires disconnected. All right, so now grab my nut driver and we can start taking these coin chutes and stuff out. I'm gonna have to get a nut driver for that. This was where the ground strap went. It was broke off, but I'm pretty sure I have another one we could use. So I need to get a nut driver that's going to fit this size. This is the right size nut driver, but there's a magnet in there, so it doesn't go deep enough to grab the nut. So I'll go grab one of those, and then we should be able to get the rest of this torn apart. All right, I got my 5/16 nut driver. I always put the chutes in the tumbler as well, and these brackets here. This, I have new ones of these. These are got like tape and stuff stuck to them from when it must have went out of order at some point. Plus it's peeling real bad on the back, so just throw those away. The coin chutes we can put in the tumbler, but more than likely we will put new ones on of these as well. I do have some new ones, but we'll put them in there anyways just to clean them up. I saved the old ones just in case. Another zip tie over here, 2 of them. Okay. Okay, now we just have to take out the coin mechs. Pull these off. These we'll just wire wheel and oil them and everything like I usually do. I don't put these in the tumbler. Okay, now the only last thing we got to do is get this lock cylinder off and drill out those rivets so we can take the old badge off the front, and then we're ready to fix a couple little dings and these holes. I'll probably just weld them just to save time, because if we weld them and grind them, we can do the body work and paint it right away. So I'm gonna go grab a pair of pliers to get that off, and then we need a drill to take out these rivets, and I'm gonna go stick this stuff in the tumbler. Okay, let's get this lock cylinder off, and then we'll get those rivets drilled out for the badge. This lock is garbage. I don't have a key for it. We're going to use a 3 32nd drill bit. The rivet's spinning. Usually they don't spin like that, but every one's spinning. Okay. That is off. This is why I like to take them off. Look at all that grime and stuff behind it. It's basically just dirt. It's not, this one isn't really rusted, which is nice. Same thing up here. That's not rust, that's just dirt. And I always put a new badge on. I mean, you could keep the original ones, but the rivets are all rusted, and it's just nice to put new ones on. I have new brass rivets for it and everything. So, okay, let me get my welder set up. We'll get these holes welded in, and then we're gonna try to bend this straight again. And then we could do a little bit of body work, light sanding. We'll probably use a Scotch-Brite pad on everything, except for this little bit right here where I have to do the body work. So I'm gonna go grab my grinder so we can grind this down to bare metal so that we can get the welder on it. Okay, let me grind the paint off where these holes are. Get my welding mask on here. We'll get these holes welded up. Start with the ones on the door first. we will switch to my regular glasses, grind this down, and then we can work on straightening up the door. Okay, I don't want to grind any farther because I'm going to put some filler on here just up to the paint and try to just feather it into the paint so we don't go farther than that. But as you can see, it's welded in nice, and how quick that is. Now we don't have to worry about doing a bunch of body work or putting JB weld on here and waiting for it to dry. So now let me set up and we'll see if we can't bend this door a little straighter, hammer it on the vise. Okay, let's see if we can't hammer this a little bit straighter before we put body filler on it, because you don't want to put body filler on it and then use a hammer on it because you could crack it. So I'm just going to kind of lay this on here. First thing I want to do is try to fix the frame. You can see how it's bowed, I think. Maybe like that. See it? Right where that stud is. It's kicked in. So I don't know. I might be able to lightly tap on the stud. I just don't want to tap real hard on the stud and ruin the threads. We could try maybe clamping it in the vise, straightening it that way. Sometimes that works. Yes, it definitely helped. Not too bad. A little bit of a dip. Still got a little bit. It's like doesn't want to go. Maybe if I go like this. Yep, that helped. Now I gotta bend this part back. Like that. Definitely helped a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect, but now in the door has a bend in it. I don't know if you can see how bad that is. It's pretty bad. Wonder if I can That's looking better, getting there. It's a little high right here. I'm not hitting this real hard. Right here is high. Oh, went too far, I think. That's not too bad. It's not too bad like that. This gap seems pretty big right here. That looks better. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. We got a little bit of a dent there, but that's where the rivet or the bolt goes. We got to put a little bit of filler on the welds, and there's a little dent here. And I think that's it. I don't even think I'm gonna, let me just grab Scotch-Brite pad. We'll Scotch-Brite this and then we'll put a little bit of icing on it. All right, I'm just gonna scrub this down so that my icing that I mix up will stick to the couple spots that there are. Now this won't take the texture off. This just gives the paint something to stick to. Just scratches it up enough for the paint to stick. Got a little bit of residue from tape right here. All right, let's mix up a little bit of icing. I think I might be running out of this again. Yeah, I am. It's a glazing putty, not icing. Icing's just a different brand. Okay, we're gonna put it on these two spots, a little dent here, and then that little dent on that other side. Then while this is drying, we'll cut the wood and start making those pieces to hold the PCB into the cabinet like it originally was. We're gonna have to do a little bit of texturing on this. Probably just do a light coat on it, just so that it kind of blends in and you don't see where the bodywork was at. Okay, one little ding here. All right, we'll let that dry. Let me go get my table saw and stuff set up, and we will get that wood cut. Okay, First thing we want to do is cut this to 3.5 inches wide, which it might already be. I gotta see. Perfect, it's already at 3.5. So, excuse me. We have to cut 1 to 10 long and 4 long. So let's go to the 10 first. We'll just cut it on here. Okay, these are the 2 pieces we need. I gotta take this fin out of here. Now we're gonna lower the blade down so we're about 1/3 of the way through the wood. About there is good. And we have to make 3 slits. First one's gonna be 3/4 of an inch. So we are going to set this to, well, we know that this is 3.5 wide. So this is 3.5, so we're gonna go in 3/4 of an inch, which will be 2 3/4. So we're gonna go into 2 3/4. We're gonna make our first pass. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move it a tiny bit and make a second pass, just so that these grooves are a little bit wider to make it a little bit easier to put it on. So we're just gonna go a tiny bit. Okay, our next, you can see how it's a little bit wider. Our next one is 2 inches. So we're at 2 3/4. So now we got to go down to, we got to go in 2 inches. So 1 3/4 would be an inch. 3/4 would be 2 inches, right? No, we got to go to, let me think here. We're at 3/4 right now. So we need to go to the 2 inch mark. Make sure, I'm just making sure that I did this right. I think it's 2 inches from the outer edge. I'm trying to think. It is. So it's 2 inches in from the outer edge. So if this is 3.5, 2.5, 1.5. And I have LT, meaning light. So I'm gonna go a little bit under 2, and actually I'm gonna go 1/16 under 2.5. Now I'm gonna move it to 2.5, and that'll give me my wider slot. Okay, now we need one more over, which goes to 2 3/4, so another 3/4 of an inch. So we are at 1.5, so we're gonna go down 3/4 of an inch, so it's gonna bring us to 3/4 of an inch left on here. And this says heavy, so we're gonna go with a 1/16 over 3/4 of an inch. We'll make this groove. Then we're gonna go right to 3/4. And that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna go test this on the board, make sure it fits, and then we can make this upper metal bracket that mounts it. And this just gets screwed to the bottom of the cabinet. Okay, that piece of wood fit perfectly on the PCB. I left the bottom piece downstairs in the basement. There's no point in having it out here anymore. Now I need to cut a piece of sheet metal that is 4 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. And then we got to make a bend in it. I'm gonna use my tape measure to draw the line here. Okay, let's cut this. Okay, now we have to put a bend at 3.5 inches. I'm gonna mark it on both. Well, no, it doesn't matter. All right, let's go bend this on the bender. This is 16 gauge steel. This is pretty thick. Okay, let's slide this in here. Line it up on our 2 marks. And we need to bend it up 90 degrees. I always go a little too far. Okay, well that's it there. I'm gonna bend it back a hair on the vise. Okay, I went a hair too far, so I want to straighten that back out. Usually if you just put it in there right up on the corner, there we go. Now we're at a perfect 90. Okay, now I need to drill 6 holes into this. 3 up here and 3 down here. So let me go get my drill and a couple drill bits and we'll drill those now. Okay, let's measure out where we're gonna put the holes. Doesn't really matter. Let's just make them even. It's 4 inches wide. So let's go 1.5 inches. Let's go 1 inch in on each side. 1 inch in on each side. 1 1/4, 1 1/4. So that's good there. So we got 2 here. And then we'll go in the middle, which is 2 inches. And then we'll come down 3/4. Right there. That's good. Okay, so now we'll just mimic that over here. 1 inch, 3 inch. 3/4, 3/4, that's good. And then we'll put a 2. And this one we'll put more towards the top. Okay, those are the 6 holes we need to drill. We're gonna use a 3/16 drill bit. Get these drilled, and then we're just gonna Scotch-Brite down this metal real quick and paint it silver so it doesn't rust in the future. I'm trying to figure out what's the easiest way to drill these. I guess we could probably just hold it. Let's try it first. Make sure you don't drill at a real high rate of speed because it'll catch on you and it'll rip it right out of your hands. And also it makes your bits last longer. This one we could probably clamp. I just didn't want to clamp it the other way because it was real long. I'm actually gonna go grab my sander because there's metal burrs on the backside. I want to sand those off. I'm gonna use this little hamburger disc here. This will get the burrs off. Grab my safety glasses here. Clean these up real quick and then we can paint this silver. Okay, good enough. We're gonna paint the bottom side first. I'm just gonna wipe it off with my shirt. It's not a real big deal. I'm just gonna set it in this box I have out here. This is another windshield for that car, so hopefully this one will fit. So I'm just gonna use my Krylon high heat aluminum spray paint. Kind of looks like sheet metal when it's dry. Okay, we'll let that dry in the sun, and I can flip it over and do the outside. And this is ready for sanding. So let me go grab a piece of sandpaper. We'll sand that Bondo down. Okay, I got a sanding block here. I'm just gonna sand this by hand. I don't need to get sanders out for this. I'm just gonna use some 180 grit on a block here. I'm gonna take this one off. This one's pretty worn out. Switch it for this 180 grit. I'm just going to lightly sand it down until it's flat. And then we'll be ready to spray a little bit of texture and paint. What we're going to do first though is paint the backside. This stuff sands pretty easy. That U-pull stuff that I use, which is what this is, you can buy it at O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's like $20 a tube. Comes with the hardener. So you can see here how I just faded that right in to where the old paint was. So now it's nice and smooth, and we can just do a little bit of texture spray over top of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish sanding that spot and those other couple, and then I'll come back and we'll blow this off and put a coat of paint on the backside first. Okay, I sanded it down, I blew it off, I have it upside down. We're gonna use the Krylon 5X all-in-one satin black. I switched to the satin black because I think the matte black was too dull of a finish. So I just wanna put a coat on the backside here. You can see there's a little bit of red paint and stuff stuck to it, but I'm not worried about that. If that goes on against the cabinet, you'll never see it. I just want to make sure that it's all sealed up. There's no bare metal anywhere. Just want to do one light coat, let it sit, we'll flip it over. And we'll put a little bit of texture on the front side and we'll paint the front. But now, once I'm done with this, let's go put another coat of silver on that bracket. We'll flip it over and put the silver on the other side. Okay, let's see if that'll manage to stay up there or if the wind will blow it down. More than likely the wind will blow it down while the paint's wet, and then there'll be a bunch of dirt stuck in the paint. On this, I'm only putting one coat. That's all it needs. Okay, let that dry and that's done. And then it can get mounted to that piece of wood and then to the cabinet. So now once this dries for a little bit, we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna put a little bit of texture on it, and then we're gonna put some couple coats of paint on that, and then that'll be done. And that'll end this video. This will be part 8 of Satan's Hollow. Part 9 is gonna be when we put the wiring harness in the cabinet and start putting the circuit board in there, get the, start getting it ready to hopefully fire up. We're gonna have to rebuild one of those power supplies as well. Okay, we're gonna flip this over. We're gonna use a little bit of this black rock guard for cars. You can buy this at O'Reilly Auto Parts as well. I wanna try to just do a very light mist coat because I don't wanna put a ton on there, but we definitely need to put some texture where we sanded it, and now obviously there's no texture left. So let me do a test here. See if we can't just get a light coat on here, but enough to where it gives it a texture. I don't want to see where the Bondo was, but by holding this back farther, it's a thinner texture, I think. Clogged up on me. Nice. Just going to kind of go over the whole thing lightly so that it's even. This tip keeps clogging up. Trying to pull it off, but it's like stuck on the can. I'm gonna have to mess with this for a minute. All right, see if that sprays now. That's good. Okay, let's let that dry for about 10 minutes. And then we're gonna put a coat of regular paint on it. Okay, let's put some of this Krylon satin black on it. You know what I want to do? I should have did it first. Get inside these edges here. Okay. This stuff's drying really fast because it's windy outside. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. All right, that's gonna end part 8 of the Satan's Hollow. I'm probably gonna work on this weekend, just because I'd like to get this cabinet stripped down and see what it looks like, and maybe just get it body worked and into the basement so that it's not going in the back building and getting moisture or anything like that. Also, the leg levelers had fallen off of this, so we need to replace those. We're gonna have to cut a new piece, couple new pieces of wood. The bottom's chewed up from these missing. So there's a little bit of work to do on this one, but we'll get it. So, all right, guys, if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Other than that, I will see you guys later.